I just dropped $25,000 on a stock that a lot of people have been leaving by the wayside, and I'm coming to scoop up the shares. I'm going to give you 3 reasons as to why coming up. What's up, guys? My name is Brad, and this is Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and I've made it my mission to help you own it. So if you want to see more content like this, learn about investing and how to become more financially free, click that subscribe button, and let's get started. So my stock that I just added $25,000 to is none other than Penn National. Penn National, in my opinion, is the sports betting stock to own, the company to own, and I'm going to give you 3 reasons as to why. Reason number 1. Penn National recently became popular because of Barstool Sports, but Barstool's only been around for about a year. Penn National acquired them last February, January, somewhere around in there, and that's really only the big part. That it's a big part of Penn National, but it isn't the whole story. And the big story here, in my opinion, is going to be the brick and mortar side of their business. People kind of dismiss this away, and I think this is a big mistake. When you look at the 20 locations, or the 20 states rather, that they have brick and mortar businesses in, they weren't hit quite as hard, even though they were hit pretty hard, not quite as hard as some of the other companies that were located in Vegas solely. So with the reopening, and we're seeing a lot of locations across the states reopen quite rapidly, Penn National stands to recover much faster than the MGMs, the Las Vegas Sands, all of those other ones that are primarily focused in Vegas. Penn National is a regional casino, so they have other locations and really have diversified themselves that way, which I think, in my opinion, gives them the advantage. Reason number 2 is going to be March Madness. Penn National is going to be a huge benefactor of March Madness as we are just getting through the round of 32, heading on to the Sweet 16. This stands to be the largest sports betting event from a legal standpoint ever. From $1 to $1.5 billion in revenue is going to come in across the industry, and Penn National stands to benefit, and they could very well take up a large part of the market share. Sports betting has been adopted and legalized in 12 states in the last 18 months. Penn National expects to have 10 more states under their belt before the end of the year. In my opinion, I think that states are going to actually start accepting and adopting sports betting as a way to earn revenue with their state, especially given the pandemic and how much revenue that had to get soaked up for stimulus and all that good stuff. So I expect this to become more widely accepted across all 50 states at some point in the very near future. Getting back to the NCAA Men's Championship, I think that this is going to be something that we see at least around we could very well break that $1.5 billion. That would be a record. The $1 billion will be a record in and of itself, but if we get this up over $1.5 billion, that would crush all of our sports betting events. And I want to just clarify here, some might argue that the Super Bowl was the highest sporting event, and yes, that is true, but that's just one game. The NCAA Men's Championship is spread out across over 60 games. As we all know, that is a ton, ranging for about a week and a half. This is going to be a major event, and Penn National stands to benefit a ton from this. And some may argue that there's other competition that could step in and wedge their way into Penn National's market share, and that might be true, but I think the market itself is big enough for everyone. But in my opinion, Penn National has one secret weapon, which leads me to reason number 3. But before we get to that, I just want to invite you over to join the Chaos Crew. If you go to ownthechaos.com, you get a free watch list from us every single day. We give you 5 stocks before the market opens just to give you a snapshot of how we see the day playing out. If you guys want to check that out, it's absolutely free. We also have other paid stuff in there as well that just helps support the channel and the studio that you see behind me. So if you want access to our Discord group, access to my portfolio every single day of the week when I make changes and all that stuff, trade alerts, all of that's going to be at ownthechaos.com. Would love to have you guys a part of the Chaos Crew. Okay, so reason number 3 is going to be Penn's secret weapon, and that is Barstool Sports. Davey Day Trader, the 70-plus stoolies that are involved with Barstool Sports. This is how Penn sets themselves apart from the competition, and I absolutely love it. This is something that I think that nobody else is going to be able to buy their way into. Penn National has been able to acquire 36% of Barstool Sports, and with the ability to acquire 50% in the coming years, and then actually have controlling over ownership of Barstool. And I think this was probably the smartest, best move that Penn National could have ever made since the existence of the company. Shortly after acquiring Barstool Sports, they came out with the Barstool Sports app, which they launched in Pennsylvania originally, and it absolutely crushed it. over in Michigan. They also recently launched it there. And while they've taken up 24% of the market share, they were the only ones that came out positive is from a revenue standpoint, whereas DraftKings, FanDuel, and even BetMGM have come in with a negative adjusted revenue. Now, how has Penn been able to do this? Well, the reason they've been able to do it is because they don't have to spend nearly the kind of marketing dollars that DraftKings and FanDuel and the other ones do, because they don't need to. They literally can just expose them, send messages and that sort of thing to the Barstool Sports app, and I think that this is something that just really sets them apart. They can save so much money. That's why they were able to come in positive from a revenue standpoint, where the other ones came in the red. And just a week ago, I got the authority to open up their Barstool Sports app in Virginia. Again, like I mentioned before, Penn expects to have 10 more states under their belt by the end of this year alone. So the opportunity for them to continue to grow is exponential here. In my opinion, we're just getting started, folks. Now, recently the stock dipped because of the rising yield rates and all that good stuff, and I thought that this was going to be a great opportunity to scoop up some cheaper Penn National shares, and I'll explain to you where I think that you still might have opportunities here if you're interested in getting into it. So if we look here on the daily chart, and I'm just going solely off of supports and resistances here, it's very clear that it's held up a really good support here at $110 a share. I closed on, as of this recording on Friday at 117, started to make a move up. I think a lot of people were starting to catch on to this March Madness idea and wanted to make sure that they were in. So if by some chance, as you see this video, we're up above that 117 number, I would imagine that any kind of break over 127 could make this a really good opportunity for a momentum play. I think that there's certainly a really good possibility we see this at $150 a share rather soon, and this catalyst that is March Madness could very well be the catalyst that sends it. If by some chance you don't get to this under $130, I think I definitely would caution you a little bit on getting into this and look for some potential pullbacks. $120 a share seems to be the next resistance for it. So if it does get up over that, and my hope is that by the time you see this video, it has already moved up over that. But if it doesn't, then that would be the next resistance. If it pops up over that, as we know, old resistances become new supports, and that itself would, in and of itself, would be a new support. So if you see it pop up over that and it pulls back and holds up at 120, 121, I think that you're going to be in good shape to at least grab a starter on this if you don't have any pen yourself. Or if you do, it's going to be a great place to add to, in my opinion. This is sitting pretty low on the RSI as far as the daily chart's concerned, and you can see that it's well above its 200-day MA, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's so many high expectations for Penn National, and as I mentioned, this is just getting started, so I think this is just going to be a really great opportunity to get this on the pullback. Now, all of that information, in my opinion, makes a pretty good argument to the bullish side for Penn National. But there's one more piece of bonus info here, and that is today was the first day on the S&P 500. The S&P 500 indexers welcomed Penn National into the portfolio, so I think that that is also yet another bull case for the company. And in my opinion, even though this has run up so much over the last year plus, that I think that this still has plenty of room to run and is just getting started. In my opinion, I was going to seize this opportunity on the dip, and so that is why I added and accumulated a position up to almost $25,000 in the Penn National. And so let me know what you guys think down below. What is your thoughts on Penn National? Do you own it? Are you thinking about owning it? If you are, why? Do you prefer another sports betting app over this one, like a DraftKings or GNOG or MGM? Let me know in the comments below. And that is going to do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I will see you all before the bell, and be Smith